What is going on, everybody? It is Game Dad 7, and today I'm here to represent the Wu, Wei, and Shu with you. If you smell what I'm stepping in, you know I'm talking about Dynasty Warriors. As a vet of the series myself, who's been there since Dynasty Warriors 3, from the mainline entries all the way up to the Empire games, Dynasty Warriors 9, I know exactly what this game has to offer when compared to the previous entries of the series, and I'm also going to look at this as someone who might be new to the Dynasty Warriors franchise, or even Musou games in general. I've dug deep in the demo so I know all the different systems to explore and exactly how this game is different mechanically. You've probably seen some reviews start to drop on the game that have been really favorable, and they're not lying. The game is amazing. It honestly might be one of the best Musou experiences out there, just based on the demo. Right up there with some of the great classics like Dynasty Warriors 3 and 4, as well as like a recent really great game, which was 3 Hopes, the Fire Emblem Musou spin-off game. Now, this isn't a full review. I don't have a review or an early copy of the game. I'm just somebody who's played the heck out of the demo and is a series veteran, so I can really break down and show you what they've got. Let's go ahead and just break down some of the basics of the game and get into it. For a series that's all about fighting thousands of soldiers at a time and being very wide-scoped, the narrative of this game is very narrow, which is different from the series. You play as this unknown hero, so no longer do you have this massive roster of generals to choose from. The story is very much going to surround him and the events of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. So you're still going to be set in the same time period, but it'll be specifically him. So you'll almost be like someone who's watching all of the events of history take place as opposed to being some of those generals, which adds a really unique perspective. You can see that you can actually make choices here. Now, these were pretty inconsequential. I've heard that there are some actual choices that will affect the game. And if you've played the other Dynasty Warriors games, you know that each one of the campaigns has their own ending as far as a point that they end at. But you can also win missions that historically you should have lost. So I assume these choices will be a big deciding factor in that. Campaign missions start with a briefing where it goes over the layout of the strategy for the battle, as well as you can look at enemy generals and the allied generals, little expose beforehand between the different officers and maybe those little story elements of an argument or a disagreement. But you've got your preparation here that you can take a look at. Your equipment is going to be your weapon, which has different types, and you can see your proficiencies over on the side. You can also take a look and see your health, attack, defense. Bravery we'll get into a little bit later. But your weapons change your attack pattern, and also you can see they have different unique ability changes to them, along with your gems, which is like an accessory. You have other types of equipment you can bring as well, and then you have things that you can pop, like quick heals, things to boost your bravery so you can do your big Musou attack, even your horses. Scratches that build craft itch, especially on higher difficulty. On easier difficulty, you're not really going to have to worry about your weapons reach and your attack pattern, quickness, and all these different things like that. But it's there. You can get as granular as you want with it, which is an added layer of depth that the game needed. Now, here's where it gets really fun. You've got special attacks that you can assign to the face buttons. And some of these are going to be good for mowing down big swaths of troops, while otherwise are going to be good for one-on-one general fighting, as well as canceling out enemies' attacks. And I'll be able to show that further in this demo here, where it's really important to parry, block, and cancel out enemy attacks. Get a little slice of Sekiro in this game when you get to the tougher battles, like I'll show you with Lubu a little bit later. You're going to have a group of troops that's going to be following you during the missions, and you can give commands to, such as charge, shoot a volley, encirclement, all sorts of different things that you can do to give you a little bit more of a tactical feel while you're mowing down enemies and 1v1 in generals. Now let's talk about the gameplay. Dynasty Warriors has always been about you versus 1,000 other soldiers and smashing the light button and the heavy button attacks until you rack up a huge number of KOs on the map and knock out some enemy generals. The game still has that flavor, but combat feels much more smooth as well as precise, especially when you're fighting other officers. You're still going to pop different combos of light and heavy attacks, but with those added face button special attacks and the bravery system, you really have something to work toward. It's like a mini action economy that you have to manage with your bravery system, because each one of those face button skills cost a certain number of those bravery points. If you also use too many of the bravery points, your stance will be broken, and the same thing can happen to enemy generals as well. They can use special attacks on you, and their bravery will go down, as well as you can chip away their bravery by hitting them with your own attacks. When their bravery is depleted, they're left stunned, where you can do a follow-up attack. Any nearby allied officers will engage in this attack with you. Here's an example of issuing commands to the squad of soldiers that follow you around in combat. What Origins is doing so well is it takes some of the mindless combat that Dynasty Warriors have been known for and really gives you purpose behind your swings and your movements. Not just for taking out the huge amount of enemies, but these one-on-one duels and combats with other officers. They also brought back actual duels where you 1v1 other officers. Check out this clip of it. Now, series veterans, something I know you're going to be asking is, why can't you play as other officers? At certain points during the map, you will be able to switch to a companion officer that you brought with you. Here I have Jahudun, who I've been able to switch to. Now, he has his own attack patterns, he has his own special set of face buttons, which go with his character. So if you know some of the history of the Dynasty Warriors games, each one of these officers is going to fight differently. Those special face buttons are going to represent that, as well as the Musou attack is going to be unique to the officer as well. Now I want to go back to something I said earlier when I mentioned the game Sekiro. A lot of people's ears probably perked up, and you probably haven't seen much in the game so far that looks like that. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to leave you here with the conclusion of the demo, which is the fight against Lu Bu. If you know Lu Bu and ancient Chinese history or Romance of the Three Kingdoms, you know that Lu Bu is an absolute monster, and he certainly is in this demo as well. So I'm going to show you here, I'm just basically just going to leave this video with the fight of me and Lu Bu, so you can see what I'm talking about and witness how the change of this Dynasty Warriors franchise from being this really big-minded 1 versus 1,000 to narrowing itself in these moments against these almost boss fights is what I would pretty much categorize it as, where it kind of gives a little bit of that Sekiro type flavor. Enjoy this Lu Bu fight. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Let me know if you're excited for this game, if you're a Dynasty Warriors veteran and you're coming back to the series, or you've been playing it the whole time, or if you're new to these types of games and you're looking forward to it. Again, I'd be happy to answer any questions for you in the comments. And thank you so much for hanging out and watching. I really do appreciate it. If you go to my channel and give me some support by subscribing or liking the video, greatly appreciated as well. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one.